All right, everyone. My name is Joseph. I am a Microsoft MVP. I am very happy to be on this screen with you today. I'll be standing in for Frank. So Frank is speaking at an event today and will not be available to conduct the session, but I'm here to stand in for him. I'll be expecting some persons to join us also to make some presentation, but while we wait for them to come, I will just be taking us through security in M365. So I invite you to view my screen that I'll be sharing in a bit, where we're going to be talking about attack simulation training in M365 Admin Center. All right, so I'm going to be presenting my screen now. Okay, and it's going to be this screen. Okay, I'll bring it on stage. Oh, cool, it's already there. So I'm going in straight to the Security Admin Center, which is where I am signed in on my demo account here. So this is the Security Admin Center. So one of the questions that I have asked, research about recently is about attacks, cyber attacks, and my concentration has been on email attacks, and it's the outcome of my research have shown that a lot of attacks have actually come through emails recently. So we are just going to be having a practical session. So if I ask co-pilots what's the percentage of cyber attack that have come to organization being in the few, in the recent times, let's see what percentage it is going to tell us. What is the percentage of cyber attacks that have come through emails recently? So if I do this, I'll be expecting it to, you know, show us the statistics of what has happened in the recent time. So let's just look at the outcome of this research, which is also verifiable from your web search and other form of research. Cyber attack, though, through email have been significant concern recently. According to a report, 75% of all cyber attack in 2021 started with email, with 92% of all malware being delivered through emails and phishing email, accounting for 90% of all data breaches. Another source indicates that 91% of cyber attack came from emails. These statistics highlight the critical need to robust email security measure to protect against such threats. So Microsoft is robust at emails using the Exchange server. A lot of transactions, international transaction, of course, go through emails, and because of this, hackers actually come through emails, and that's why it was thought wise to have attack simulation trainings for your individuals in your organization so that you can measure the security posture of your organization. That's going to be centered around what we'll be discussing today. So if you come to security.microsoft.com and then you scroll down here, if you have the required license, Microsoft Defender for Office, then you will have down below here under email and collaboration, then you're going to see the attack simulation training. So there are a lot of roles that actually can give you access to the security admin center, right? So, and even to do attack simulation, you must not be the security administrator before you can do attack simulation training. So, judging from the principle of least privilege, which Microsoft would always encourage, we can go by the attack simulation administrator role can have access to attack simulation training when he signs into the security admin center. So looking at what we have here, if you come to attack simulation trainings, there are a lot of things you can actually do. So the first thing that you would see is you would see the overview. So this is going to show you like the simulations that you've created in the recent times. So if you scroll down, you will see recent simulation, you will see simulation name. If they are still active, you will know that is if they are still in progress. And if they are completed, you will also be communicated here that the attack simulation has been completed, and the one that is still running, then it's going to show that it is in progress. So having said that, if you go to the next one, you're going to see simulations, right? And this is where you can, go deeper into, those simulations that you have created in recent times. So attack simulation, to give it a context, is just you trying to be forward, right? Let's say, for example, you have just organized a cybersecurity training in your organization, and you want to test the level of adoption of those, plans that you've shared with your users. No matter how strong your security is, the human part of it is actually something that you should not overlook, because you are as strong as your weakest link as an organization. So you may want to do a training, right? And after this campaign, if trainings were sent out to individual, it is from here you will measure to know people who have actually done their trainings, those who have completed them, those who failed to do them, and all of that will be shown here. While reports is actually where you go see the report of the response rates to your simulation, those who clicked, those who did not click, those who compromised, and those who did not compromise. Just so we can get started today, we are going to be looking at simulations, and we'll be creating a simulation, one on Black Friday, because we are in November, right? Let me just check the lobby. Excuse me, I have only one screen today, so just in case anyone is on the lobby at the moment. Okay, so I'm still expecting people to join. So while that, so we just go on to launch a simulation, right? So if you click on launch a simulation, then what's going to happen is that there are different type of simulation there's different type of attack that the hacker can actually follow to come into the organization. Can come with the intention of harvesting credentials of your users by sending them a malicious link. Yes, for them to input their usernames and their passwords. And this is just to sit by the back end and capture the credentials that your users are using to sign into their office environment or into their work profile, and then use that to penetrate the system. And then it could also be like a malware that is being attached to an email, so that when these users, in this type of technique, a malicious actor will create a message with an attachment added to the message, so that when the target open the attachment, it arbitrarily gets some code into the user system without him knowing or her knowing about what is happening. Then you talk about the link and attachment in this type of technique too. This is a hybrid of a credential harvest and malware attachment like combined together. Then a malicious actor will create a message with the URL in an attachment, and then then insert the attachment into the message, so that when the targets open the attachment, then they are represented with a URL, represented with a URL in the actual attachment, and then you see the hack can happen there. So link to malware too can be there, then drive by URL and all of those that are here, then who ought consent grants. So in this type of technique, malicious actor has created an Azure application that asks the target to grant the application permission over some of the target data, and then before you know it, the system is compromised. So you can actually go on and on to look at all this like in more details, right? By viewing detail of how this guide is, by clicking on this blue line, then you are going to see more granular details about this. But for now, and maybe for what we'll be doing on these events today, we'll be concentrating on credential harvest. So credential harvest using like the global payload, and then we can also try to create our own custom payload, just so we can see what the what the user experience would be when it receives the email. So credential harvest, and then we can do next. So while doing next, we can just call this Azure and AI Show. Let's just call it Azure Show, because I will create another one. We can call that AI Show. So Azure Show now, and then is next. And then the point is, where do you want to? Do you want to create your custom payload, or do you have a similar payload that is there already that you would like to pick, or do you just want to create like your own payload to test your users integrity in terms of clicking emails? So one very good thing that is occurring at the moment now is the Black Friday offer is everywhere in November, right? So because of the prevalence of Black Friday offers for this month, I would still recommend that we go by Black Friday. However, you could go by email quarantine notification, Fago email verification, payment package, and all of that. There are a lot that actually come in COVID-19 payment as the payroll adjustment. They renew. I think this was going to be more useful during the COVID, work from home and remote engagements time, where we talk about lockdown, right? This would have actually worked very fine too. So we have full mailbox notice, then Zoom video conference invitation, Facebook identity check, and a lot of them. So if you look at Zoom call request and Office 365 email quarantine, DHL. So let's just see. We may just play, depending on how much time we have. We may just also play with any of these ones, but there are lots of them that you may want to check out yourself. So payment request, invoice. So there are lots that we have under global payloads, right? So CDOCs and all of those. So yeah, so let's not scroll too far. Let's come back to Black Friday because we are in November. So we may just randomly pick anyone when we are done with this. So this will be saying that who do you want to target? Do you want to target all the users, or do you just want to target some users in your environment? So what you can do in that case is to include only specific user, because for now I'm just going to target one user who is my lab rat, because I have him signed in here also, so that we can test this as soon as possible to see the end result of this. So I'm just going to pick the guy and I'm going to search for him, lab, and then guy is lab rat. So I'm just going to pick this. So when I do that, I click on add. So the guy is added. It's going to be the target for that simulation. So we're going to do this. So choose group that you want to exclude. I've not included much people. I don't want to exclude people. So I think where this is actually more useful is when you have selecting all the users, and maybe you want to exclude some particular persons for one reason or the other. But of course, there should be reason why you want to do this. Maybe the people were not involved in the training, or maybe they're in another batch, or maybe so you can decide to exclude people in this case. We can also put people in a group, right? Specific group where you have people, right? So instead of even trying to do this, you can create a group and then call on that group at this point instead of calling on the user directly, and then you can decide to exclude. So going to next now is saying that, do you want the person to be aware that you have just been phished by your security team? So let Microsoft assign training courses and model based on the user's previous simulation and training results using learning pathway. Select training courses and model myself. So but I want us to use the recommended at this point, so that the user just get what Microsoft wants to give to it. If you also do not want the user to get any trainings, of course you can turn it off. Maybe you want to organize so this we're going to do in another simulation attack that we're going to create. So this is assign training for me, to the user who we default, right? So that's cool. So we can just say, okay, how long do you want the course? Select a training due dates. If you leave it at 30 days, the user may relax, but so that you can get constant reminders to do it now, so that you can put it at 7 days, but depending on what your requirements are in this case. So we can do next. So what happens here is you want to say, okay, landing URL. What URL do you want the user to land? So you can just, for now, we are going to pick like what Microsoft has given us to make use of, and then we can select the language as English for the learning. That we can hit on next. So when we hit on next, what happen is, do you want select end user notification preference for this campaign? So what is this saying? None of the notification will be delivered to the user. So if you want Microsoft to send notification, I think it's just okay for them to receive the emails only, and there's no need for notification. So I can click on next. So this is asking, when do you want the simulation to launch? So this is now the launch details. So configure when you want this simulation to launch, and if you like to remove the payload from other inboxes. So I would want this to be launched like immediately. Configure number of days to end the simulation. We can decide to end the simulation after 2 days, so that where you saw in progress, where you saw finished and all of that, you can progress and then ended. Yeah. So this is what determines that. Of course, you can decide to increase this, and you can decide to also reduce it. You can decide to reduce it. So apologies for that noise. So I'll do next, and then this is review and then submit. So from what you can see here, review simulation information below before you launch it. You currently have it scheduled to launch today by this time. That's just immediately after I have hit on submit. So what happens is that if I look at it, it's okay, and then credential harvest is what I'm doing. The name is Azure Show, then the payload is Black Friday offer, then the targeted user is one targeted user, which is lab rats, right? And then it's asking me to edit. So if I want to edit, if I'm okay, I can hit on submit. So what's going to happen is, as soon as this simulation launches, then it's going to prepare and then send that email to LabRat's mailbox. So this is done at this time. So this is the simulation. This is the main. Where is it again? Azure Show. This is it that was started today. So I'm expecting LabRat to get an email very soon coming for, that's going to hit him about Black Friday offer. So we will just give it some time for that email to come through. So at this point, that simulation is just taking off. So while we are doing this, I may just minimize this page and go show you the rules that you need to consider for attack simulation. So if I come to rules and I come to rule assignments, if I check down the list of the rules that you have in M365, and then coming to this, you can see attack simulation administrator. So for least privilege access, if you want a user to only be able to see attack simulation, the function that you want that user to have is just the attack simulation training, then you can assign the attack simulation training role to a user. So if I come to run as now, you would see what I will see. Unfortunately, I can't run this because it's not a privilege rule. I would have shown you what the user can see, but I still do not want to create a user and then assign this rule. But trust me, when you create a user and give him this rule, he's going to be able to access security.microsoft.com, and is only going to see attack simulation training. So having said that, so we'll just quickly also show the other rule that can also do the same thing that we just did, and is the security administrator. So this role also is going to be able to do it. So apart from this role, the global administrator, of course, will be able to do attack simulation training. So let me check why. Yeah, this email has come through, and then it's coming like this, and it is saying that a Black Friday opportunity for you. So this is the body of the mail, and it's saying all around the materialistic world, people await the day after Thanksgiving to go out and start spending serious cash in preparation for the upcoming holiday season. It's known as Black Friday, and on this day every year, retailers all around the world participate in sales extravaganza, tempting buyers with rock bottom prices, something high. Of course, my screen is a bit small. Apologies. So, but what is here is that the same, but don't feel left out. If you want to get on the Black Friday excitement, but don't want to leave the comfort of your home or your own home, today I'm bringing Black Friday directly to you. Now, look at something. This is speaking to comfort, and this information is so juicy. They're saying, one, you're not going to leave your house. You're not going to, yeah, you are still going to have like the benefit of, yes, I know there are online shoppings that you can do Black Friday, but this is just, if you are not expecting a meal, please suspect it. Even the ones you're expecting, try to suspect them. And whenever you have a link tied to a meal, make sure that you think before you click. I think that's the right word. Think before you click. And then looking at this, I want you to look at the bottom of my screen here. If I put my cursor here, I will see the link down below, and I will also see it here. Just in case I don't see it display very close, I can see it down below my bottom left hand side of my screen. So now if the user is now it's saying learn more here, right? If the user hits on this, so what happens is that it's going to, because it is the simulation that we rolled out was credential harvest. So what's going to happen is it is going to be displaying itself like Microsoft sign-in page. Now, to the users in organization, one thing I want you to look out for is, yes, this is Microsoft sign in and all of that. It looks good. You can go ahead and sign in, but you should first of all look at the URL. The URL is saying pricegivers or pricegives.com/EUR, right? But this is coming up as Microsoft sign-in. So what happens if Labrat goes ahead and put Labrat because he wants to get Black Friday offer, and then he hits on next, and then what happens next is he will come here to put his password and then hit on sign in, and then what happens next is look at what he gets. Labrat, you were just fished by your security team. It's okay, you are a human. Let's learn from this. Rather than stealing your login credentials like a cyber criminal, we have redirected you to the educational page instead of instead and assigned you some training courses. Apologies on the way I'm putting my wordings together. So tips to identify the phishing email. So this is now coming to Labrat, like giving him education on what he's supposed to have looked out for, saying that the message you just clicked on is a phishing message simulation. It is not a real message from the owner of the trademark or logo featured in the simulation. The trademark and logo featured in this simulation may be the property of their respective owners and are no way associated or affiliated with the simulation, nor have the owner of such trademark and logo authorized, sponsored, or endorsed the use of such trademark and logos in this situation. So this is now addressing this to Labrat, and of course it's saying all around the world now, bringing the message that they clicked at, and then it's giving him this, and then down below here is saying go to training that it was assigned to. So good thing is he can go to training from here, and just very soon too he's going to get an email of a training assignment to him. So if he chooses to be stiff-necked, then there's going to be like a reminder mails to him that we always ask him to have the training, right? So but before this goes on, I'm just going to share my screen again and share sound so that you can hear the trainings that are going on for lab rats, so that the voice that will be speaking behind the training scene. So while this is loading, I'm just going to minimize this and come back to reshare my screen and add sound to it. So I'll stop presenting and present again, share, include sound. Okay, cool. So I'll hide this again, and then I will just come back to, excuse me. Okay, so I think I'm going to this other one. Nope. Going to this. All right, so this is LabRat send. So this is a training that was assigned to LabRat. So I'm just going to hit on start. So this is training. Select the accessible button to complete the course in accessible version. So I'll click on accessible and let's see what LabRat is going to have. So LabRat is being, did you know that computers can be hijacked and held for ransom? So now these are trainings that are speaking to the content of the, of the training that, I mean, the offense that he has committed, perhaps the mistake or the loophole that he created. So he's going to go through this. So once he's done with it, we will go to the next one. I think there's a point where, yeah, we also have questions to answer based on what he has done. You can see if the question is wrong, he will not be able to, he will be notified to go back to, this is the right answer here for him. So if he passed, I'm also going to see the result as a security administrator. So the best practice also come up for lab rats to study because he's a cybersecurity offender at this point. So all these trainings will come. Now you will have to go through them. I'm just clicking randomly, but whichever questions he answers wrongly, then the right answer will be given to him, and then he will be able to learn the correct answer to the question. However, I will equally know his own level of understanding of the topic that he was given. So this is it. I see that at this point there was no voice. So there are some trainings too that you will do, and then you have voice notification. I mean, voice trainings that are coming to the user. So this is the second class for him to also go through and do the same course. So once he's done with this course, it's assumed that at least he has knowledge about what he needs to do. And we have said that he has 7 days to complete this course. And that's the minimum number of days. So that is for we using Black Friday payload, right? So let's also see if we can use another payload quickly before we come back to do our custom payload. So we're just going to launch a new simulation. So maybe I'll just do a refresh of this. Okay, so again, I'm still in attack simulation. So I'm going to launch a new simulation, and then I'm also going to do credential harvest. So credential harvest I will do. So I will just still go to next. And this time I want to call it AI show. And I'm going to do next, right? And then yes, this time I did Black Friday. We may just randomly pick one down below, maybe Zoom call request, right? That is just this, or mail not delivered. Let's just do mail not delivered. Then we can do next again. So again, we want to just add a user, and that user is going to be our lab rats. lab rats. So this is the same guide that we used. So we're going to scroll down, say add a user, and then we are going to do next. So we're not excluding anybody, just as we explained earlier. Let Microsoft also do the course assignments, and then the landing page can also be this. Why the language can also now be English. So haven't done that, we can do next. So if we do next, we can also say do not deliver a notification like we did earlier, proceed, and then we click on next. Then configure, simulation immediately when we are done, and then you should schedule it to just last for maybe 1 day. I mean, 1 day. Okay, it's not 1 day, minimum of two. Please enter the number minimum 2 to 30. So that's a good lesson for me too. So we can do two. And then we can't do more than 30. That's what it means. So let's even try 31. So I'm expecting that to also fit. So I cannot even write one after writing three. So I can just write two. That's cool. So I can just do next and then, excuse me, incorrect selection. Please select valid. What's that? Oh, I don't want to schedule. I just want to launch it immediately. So what happens is that you can also schedule this to take off in the future, right? You can decide to, state the time that I should take off, maybe tomorrow, next month. And I think it's let's check. This is 1 week. This is 23 today. This is 30th, which is 1 week away from now. And then let's check. I think we can do 7th. And I think it's only 2 weeks in advance you can schedule the simulation to take off. So because as of today, I can only schedule till 7th of December. That is 2 weeks after now. So but I want us to launch it. So when doing that, you can also decide to say, okay, launch hour. You can select launch hour to be maybe 8 o'clock, and then you want it to be in the morning, 8:00, and then you are doing AM, right? So what this means is that 8 o'clock that morning on the 7th of December, then the simulation is just going to get delivered to the user's mailbox. But of course, we want to see the result of this while on this show, but you can do this just to see how the schedule works, right? But I want to do launch immediately when I'm done with the simulation. So I'll do next. So this is where you do a test. So this test is, so if you hit on this, so what's going to happen is it will send a mail to the mailbox of the user who signed in, of course. So let's just hit on submit. So it will send the mail to the mailbox of the user who signed in like now, just so he can check the content. If there's any correction that he needs to make, then he can make it. But I think where that one is more, pronounced is when you are doing your custom payload, which is going to be like the next thing that we are going to be doing. So just as we had patience for the Azure show to land, the same way we will wait for the AI show to land. But then while we are waiting for that, I will just hit on the simulation that we just submitted. Let us see how the report is looking already. So this is saying that we have 100% of users were compromised and 0% of users reported because just the one user we sent it to, the user had actually clicked on the link. So while looking at this, successfully received the email, one person that was sent to receive positive reinforcement message delivered, 0 of 0, just simulation delivered. So if you come to this place, it will say clicked, who click on the link, the person that you sent to click. So if you have like 100 users and maybe 5 of them, so it will first of all show you here how many users it was delivered to. Then out of the users it was delivered to, then how many of them clicked the link? One user of one click, so it can be like 10 or 50 user of 100 clicked. Then supplied credentials, you can say that, okay, but out of all of these that it was sent to, then 5 of them submitted credentials, or 10 of them, as the case may be. So people can click but will not submit credential. But of course, you don't even need to submit credential before you can get compromised. So just by clicking, you can actually be compromised. So supply credential, he supplied because he typed in his username and then he typed in his password. Then did they read? He read the message. Did he delete it? No, he did not delete. Did they reply to the message? No, he did not reply. Did they forward the message? No, he did not forward. Is anyone out of office among those who received the email? No one is out of office. So this report is actually very important. So looking at it, you can say, okay, from here you can see who received, who delivered, who deleted, who forwarded. So if this guy had gone ahead to delete the message, then it will track it here that he deleted it. Then if he replied the message, it will track it here that he also replied. And then if he forwarded also, then all of these are going to be marked. Then if it is that's to say it is not even, I mean, if he got the message but out of office, then this will also show us that the guy is out of office. So having said that, just going to come back to just going to come back to the mailbox. No, before then, I can show you where you can export the results. So details. So details here, you will see. Let me hide this guy that is blocking me. There's a place where you could download the CSV file. Reports. View activity timeline. Not there. Excuse me. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so this is lab rat, and then yeah. So yeah, this is where you download the report. So if you go to users and then it downloads the report for you. So this is just in case you are making like a formal report to be submitted to maybe your security head or somebody, maybe the attack simulation administrator is trying to get details. So what is in the report? The username, the user mail address, is it compromised? Yes. Email click, did he click? He clicked at what time to show? What browser did they use? What is the IP address? What is the email click device? This is the device that they use, Windows. And then email click source, phishing URL, credential timestamp when it supplied them, and then more details about credential supplied IP. You can see credential supplied device again. You can have like more details granularly about what happened in that. Assigned training, gave him 2 trainings. Has he completed anyone? No. So completed training, nothing. Training start status not started. So I think this is not correct because of course you know that we started that training. So it's supposed to at least show in progress here for him. Then Fisher reported, he did not report, so there was no detail captured for him. So you can actually export the results in CSV file and share it with your security team. So having said that, so we're just going straight to Labrat's mailbox again for the second simulation attack that was sent to him. So I'm coming here now. Excuse me, not there actually. So this is supposed to be Labrat signing. Am I correct? Yeah, this is it. So we come into Labrat's mail and then he got a mail. So what's the content of this mail? It's saying that you have pending message for Labrat. Here's what to do next. Open the message, read your message. So when it says this, all pending message will be automatically deleted after 48 hours. So what are we to say about this? This is a call for urgency. So if you see a message that looks so juicy, if you see a message that calls for urgency, then you should suspect it. So it's better that you report the message than you trying to follow the threats that you have here, because it is saying that all your messages will be deleted after 48 hours. So which rule deletes your messages that are not delivered after 48 hours? So now if you mind this, especially when you're expecting a very important mail, and then this is actually threatening you that it will delete the messages after 48 hours, you can just quickly go hit on this. But now let's see when I want to read my messages again. So why will I be reading my pending messages and then I'll be asked to log in again? That should be another question that you're going to have. But I'm going to show you something here that is very important, because This is appearing like Microsoft sign in, but if you look at it, it is at templates.com, not office.com. So instead of me entering LabRats, so this is LabRats email address. Remember, if LabRat decide to remove .ng and even decide to remove the dots here so that it's not even in an email address format, even if it comes back here, like if it types anything here, it is going to pass because this is not actually Microsoft sign in page. So whatever this guy decided to type that is not even like random text that is typing is not still going to stop him from going through, because what he had there was not Microsoft in any way. It was just the same thing that we had. So the same way we followed through that said, lab rats, you were just fished by your security team. It's okay, you are human, and all of those other details. So this shows the details and then shows him what he needed to look out for in the course of that email. All this, then the training is also here. He can decide to go for the training directly, or he can also schedule the training to be added to his calendar so that he can do it in the future. But then remember, it has to be within the timestamp that the admin has stated. I think it was 7 days. So that was stated while we are bringing all those trainings. Okay, so that is for the training, and then of course is opening this portal for him to take the simulation trainings that were assigned to him. So this is if you are fair enough to let him know that he was fished. But if you were trying to just configure the whole system, he will just click and submit credentials without him even knowing until the day of your next training, where you can bring the report and say, after all the trainings that we have given you, you still fail for this. Please, these are the things you need to watch out for, like a practical thing that's actually in order with your organization. So let's now do an email that will be like a body of a mail, like a remail that the user is going to receive. So let's go back to our portal. I think that's going to be this. Okay, so back to our security admin center. So let's close this out. And this time we want to create a simulation, but we are going to create the payload ourselves. And we're going to maybe like end of the year, and then we are saying we want to host an event and we are asking for suggestions from people. And that email is going to be a phishing mail. Okay, so we're going to hit on launch a simulation again. But this time we are not going to be using we're still going to do credential harvest, at least at this point, but we are not going to be using the tenants main, the global payload. We are going to be constructing our own payload that we get delivered. So we can say Azure Show, and we call it custom. So let's just hold this down so that we can also use it later. So let's do next. So when we do next, instead of doing global payload where we are going to be picking Black Friday and all of that, we'll just take tenants payload. And this time we will create a payload. And then what happens is it's going to be like email. This is a default in MS102. This was one of the questions that was asked while creating custom payload. It's only emails that is available for now. Teams is not yet active. So we do next. Of course, we had selected credential harvest, so that's why it is selected for us by default. So we'll do next. So the payload name, we can still use this. So remember, we are creating the payload at this time, so we can do next. Now, who is the message coming from? So we can say HR at azureshow.com. So this is just an email address that was randomly crafted. I mean, this is the name. So we can copy this and put this in email address and call this one Azure Show Human Resources. So that's the sender of the mail. So what's the subject of the mail? I have a mail that I crafted here. And the email subject is your input is needed. Let's use that. Your input is needed. And then, of course, we are going to be, so here you're going to be selecting a phishing link that the user is going to click. So we are going to be doing bankmania.fr. But one thing I observe is that when you click on this, it does not bring up the confirm for you. You have to scroll, maybe just click randomly, and then before you can pick the URL that you are going to pick. So I have picked this and I'll just do confirm. So what happens next is all these options are optional, right? These are optional. So this is very compulsory. So this is the payload, the language of the payload. Of course, we're going to be using English for now. And then the content of the mail that you want them to receive. So that's where we're going to copy this one. And then we're going to copy this. We can paste this in here. And then instead of this, we can just call it and then what happens next is as we approach the end of the year, we're excited to start the D's and then all of that. We will be so would love to hear your idea to make the event memorable. So please take a moment to share a suggestion by clicking on the link below. So so let's see that we're supposed to have a forms. I don't know if I will not be prompted for forms.microsoft forms.office.com. I just want to create a form that the user is going to click on. Okay, so that's taking me to forms. I just hope it's not going to prompt for MFA because I don't have my phone with me here. Okay, cool. So now I have these forms here. So I'm just going to take the form irrespective of what, but I think it's okay for me to even create a new form with this opportunity and show you how Copilot can be useful, right? So let's just come back here and let me create a new form with Copilot quickly. I'll just say create a new form for end of the year arrangements. So if I hit on generate, then it's just going to do that in a couple of seconds for me. Okay, so which type of event will you want? So let's just keep. So collect responses, then we'll just do shorten URL and copy this. So remember, we just created a form quickly just to get feedback from them. So coming back to attack simulation. So we're going to say that click on the link. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to say link. This is going to be like the phishing link. So we can click on this and then type link. Then confirm this. So we can space this out. So how do you want the body of the mail to look? We can decide to, take it to 11 and then change the font style to maybe this. And then even the color as well, you can change it. And then if you need to put image on the signature, of course, you can also put it there. So this is it. So everything is just created this way. So the next thing you do is okay this way. So this is how the email is going to come. Can do next. So the next point is, so just that's for the payload, right? So you've created a what is called now tenant payload, and then you are continuing with your customization. I mean your attack simulation target training. So you hit on this, which is Azure show payload, then you do next. So when you do next, we still want to just add labrat only, labrat. So we're picking this guy, and then we are doing add the user, and then we are doing next. But this time we still do not want to exclude anybody, but this time we don't want to assign a training, so he's not going to be aware that he has been fished. And then the next thing that I want to happen is use landing page. I want to use my own, and then that page is going to be my forms. Right? Did I copy that form? The link to that form? I did not, so I'll come back to copy that link. I think it's here. Collect responses, shorten URL, copy. So that's copied now. So that's where I want the landing to be. So I can do next. So what is going to happen is going to get fished, and then he will just supply his credentials, and then to take him to a form like he wants to give a feedback. He provides the feedback, and then after that feedback, nothing happens, but the security team can now continue to monitor. So we can do no, then we do next. So yeah, that's done. So the next thing we want to do is to click on next. Okay. Do not deliver a notification. Why is it complaining? Please select a notification preference. I have selected one. So I'm just going to do that again. Proceed. Next. Okay. So the same way that we did the other one, we are not going to have it do anything other than 2 days is okay. So for time zones is when you have users who work in across different time zones, so you can decide to include time zones. So we can do next. So what happens now is we can just click on submit. So it's loading up here. So once this is done, then done here. So that message is going to get delivered just as we have customized it. But while that is even going on, let's also go and check the reports from what we had done earlier. So we'll come on attack simulation training down here, email and collaboration, attack simulation. So we can come to, so this is just a new one that we did, right? So if we come to simulations, we should have the other list, AI Show. I think that's the name of the second one. Yeah. So if we click on that, then that is bringing us a report also. So the guy has also clicked. So if you want the details, so you can click on users if you want to download the details, and then you have option to export here. So having said that, we'll come back to mailbox of Labrat, and Labrat has received an email, and the email is saying Azure Human Resources, Azure Show Human Resources. So when he clicks on it, then it is going to show him this is the mail. So it was in white. So so the color I chose was white. So that's why this is showing this way. But this is how the email has entered. I was supposed to take care of the coloring. So this is saying, hi team. As we approach the end of the year, we are excited to start our annual party. We value your input and we love to hear idea of event, memorable, and all of those, just as we had it. So this is the link. So you will just click on the link. And then what happens next is, you remember that we put Bankmania. Was it Bankmania or something like? But this is doctrica.de. But it is displaying like the Microsoft again sign-in page. So if Labrat comes and then it supplies his credentials again, whatever it supplies here doesn't really matter. It's going to get signed into it, so you can do next. So what happens is you can supply any credential password. So when he clicks on sign in, this time it is not going to yell at him to say you have been fished, but it will just take him directly to the forms that we had put at the back end so that he can supply his feedback. And once he submits this, then it will just pretend as nothing has happened. So you can see it's just saying end of the year party survey and saying what kind of event would you like, casual party. Then it comes to say what is the date you preferred. It's just going to pick a date, and then please provide any additional suggestion. Nothing like really making sense. He just hit on this, and then he has submitted his feedback. So nothing, it doesn't really actually see anything happening, but he has supplied his credentials to the hacker and he has submitted his form because it has been arranged to be so, and he is not aware of submitting any form of credentials to anybody. He just felt that it was an email coming in from this team, and then he has responded to it. So that is how it can be. So let us quickly now, while wrapping up, quickly go to the security admin center just so we can go and look at what is happening. So if we come here also to the security admin center, let's close out this one. I'm trying to close out. Let me just refresh the page if it's slow. Okay. All right, so coming down to custom, this is it. So again, if I come here, then come to, it was delivered to him, he has clicked and all of that. So, and then I come to users, I just want us to see the reports. Again, we can export that. So once we export that, coming here to look at it in, I'm looking at that assigned training, if we are going to see anything there. So as training assigned, so let's expand this out. Credentials supplied, timestamp, delivered, message, send. Okay. Training assigned, you can see it's showing dash dash dash. What this means is that there was no training scheduled for that. So, but what I want us to even try is, or you can try on your own because we are almost on top of the hour, is trying to do the same thing, but before you click on it or after you've clicked on it, try to forward the mail. So let's just come to this one and let's forward this mail. Let's forward it to Joseph here. And then hit on send. So I have forwarded that mail. I saw a yell there. Okay, so I forwarded it. This is the content of the mail. So let us now come into the security admin center just so we can check if that is going to be captured now in the new reports. So now that it has been forwarded, it forwarded the AI show. Was it the AI show? No, the custom payload. So what if we even forward all of them so that we can be sure? So forwarded this. So let's also forward this. We can also, yes, forward here. Forward it to, just want to look at the updated reports. So Joy of Black Friday. I also want to forward this. Excuse me. Your option to forward this one, yeah, of course. This is reply, this is forward. So within the next 1 minute, I want us to look at what the report will look like. So I know that I have forwarded this. So let me see the report if it's going to update. Forwarded. Brilliant. So this is taken care of. So you can also try to reply. The time is against us already. Of course, this was showing, this was not showing that something was done, but now it is showing for us that there was a forwarded message. So the same thing should happen to reply and deleted also. Okay, so that was for custom. So the same thing you can do for the other ones. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope I was able to make you see something about how to prepare users to better secure your organization. And I hope that you have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Bye for now.